Hi guys, welcome to my channel. If you're new here, I discuss various topics related to my major such as global studies, communications, etc. So welcome. For every single topic, for every single video here, I find things related to my life and then I just tell stories about them and connect them to the majors I'm interested in. So today's main topic is, probably as you've seen in the title of the video, the most interesting cultural difference I've noticed. Coming from a completely different country, from my personal experience, I can tell a few differences that I noticed between my two cultures. And I came from Ukraine 5 years ago, and I live currently in California. I'm gonna break this into 5 points, and let's get started. Main point number 1, friendship culture. Because there's such a way of like small talks and bigger schools, I would say, there's definitely a thing where, like, coming from Ukraine, we have like a 40 people class, like 30 to 40 people class. So from your first grade ever to your senior year with the same class, unless some people move out or change classes for whatever reason. But basically, if you stay in the same class, they know you from first grade up to the end of high school. And which is crazy. And many people do that here because they go to the same elementary, middle school, and high school, but because schools in Ukraine are combined, it's just more, you kind of grow as a family. But here it's just like different classes, especially they change every year. So definitely in terms of like class wise, you do form friendships quickly, but in terms of like long-term like friendships, like deeper level, it's like, it really depends here. And actually, because of the system of like different classes every single year, people are generally a little more easier to approach, I feel like, because I mean, it's definitely also cultural part, which plays a big part to that, but it's definitely easier to approach because you're like, hi, I'm here, this is the beginning of the year, we all have to just like find people here, either our existing friends or new friends, so we're not like long link class. So it's definitely easier to approach because you kind of have the same mindset, but it's kind of like long-term wise, it's kind of harder to approach, I would say. So they do form faster, but there's nuances to that. Main point, which kind of relates to the previous topic, is school culture. Like I said, the whole system was different here than it was for me in Ukraine. But for this part, I'm definitely going to talk about the sports culture and kind of community service culture. So in Ukraine, you can do club sports, it's mostly club sports, but schools never offer like, I guess they do, but you don't really have like a basketball team, especially if you don't, obviously you have football teams, mostly soccer, which is like more a Europe thing, but sports don't really offer like big teams. You have like a PE class and that's what you call sports, but here it's like such a culture, like doing different sports in your high school years, even some middle schools. Honestly, I started 7th grade here, so I also did basketball in middle school, which is pretty cool. But yeah, definitely the school spirit is a lot in terms of sports here, but also school spirit itself. You're just like this whole thing with mascots, and it's just such a school spirit. Whereas school spirit in Ukraine would be different in terms of, like I mentioned before, like it's more like a family thing. So you're like, oh yeah, like my school, like my little family in terms of like the people. But I guess there it's just like your family is like the whole high school, which is pretty nice actually. Because in Ukraine, I would say because you're in the same like building as all the middle schoolers, all the elementary schools, you feel like a family. But like, you know, in high school more, you just like, you feel like this mascot thing is definitely like a lot. Middle school, not as much, but I guess middle school, elementary school would be kind of like people who grew up here. Definitely that feel is more like in Ukraine in high school, because high school is definitely where the culture like stuff splits up. In elementary school, it's kind of similar because you also have like a single grade. And definitely a lot of community service. There's so many leadership opportunities in high school specifically, whereas like in Ukraine, I didn't go to high school there obviously, but so I can just judge, but I know that there's definitely not as many like community service opportunities because you don't really need to. You kind of like, all you have is like good grades, and that's how you get into like good schools. But here it's like this whole thing of doing extracurricular activities, and which is pretty cool because you get to like develop as a person. So that's like a nuance too. Main point 3, communication styles. So there's a lot of small talk. I know there's going to be, in this video, there's going to be some nuanced cultural differences that are not like often talked about, but then this one is definitely talked about a lot. The small talks here is definitely such a cultural thing, but it also impacts me because I'm a teenager, and obviously teenagers kind of follow up what the adults do, and also have small talks, and there's so much of that. And just in general, how I notice like adults interact too, just like a little small talk where you're like asking how are you, but you're not really asking, you're just like politeness. But then I feel like in Ukraine it's definitely more like if you're asking how are you, you're actually telling them like your whole day, you know. You can search up like different cultural differences. I guess it's like that for many countries when they come here and they're like, oh my gosh, these small talks are like so draining because they're not actually asking what's going on. It's just like a sign of politeness, and it's just like a little cultural confusion, I would say, which is pretty cool. But it definitely like lights up the mood with the small talk. It always like helps. I like it. I really do. And I guess here it's also expressing opinions. It's really, especially school-wise, because still a student and will be, I'm so happy that here like you're encouraged to like express your own opinion, because it's just, you're always asked that during assignments, etc., during presentations. And it's not like that in Ukraine, but I feel like in Ukraine, even elementary, like in middle school wise, you're just like you just do the task and you're not really, you just have to answer the task. But then here you actually are being asked like, what do you think? And like I feel like people here are just, there's so many different opinions because there's so many people from so many other cultures and countries coming here, and they're just like, there's like this culture thing of like learning how to respect like just others' opinion and not being like rude about it. Just like, okay, yeah, this is what you think, this is what I think. And I just find it pretty cool too. So point 4 is independence and expectations. So definitely a lot of teen independence in terms of like getting your driver's license at 16 and further on. And family experience and responsibility, I feel like it's personal, but definitely the teen independence in terms of like driving yourself is such a big deal, because you can drive, you can get a part-time and you can do so many things. And I just love that you can get it like here so early on. Oh, and definitely future planning, because for college you're forced to do so much work, but at the same time it does pay off good in the long term, because you kind of find out who you are, because you're forced to create this activities list, your extracurricular list, like find your own story, like write an essay about that. I feel like it's really good, even though it's so much work. But then early on you're taught to like learn about yourself and like know what you want. And I appreciate that like future planning, it ties into future planning because you know what you want, because you can connect the dots during those activities and see what interests you. And that's basically future planning, because you're already thinking about, oh, if I like this activity, what are we going to do in the future? And I know choosing like major is hard, and I'm still doing that. I'm still like creating the story and everything, because currently I'm my summer after junior year. I love that part, that you have to like basically plan for the future by learning who you are, which is so important. And choosing major is hard, but it just prepares you like what do you want, and you have to like say what you want, and you're being asked what you want. It's just like really nice. And our last point is point number 5, is what the differences taught me. So many people just act differently based on their cultural like norms and stuff, and especially here you can like kind of tell, and it's just such a cool thing. And there isn't one normal, there's always like different definitions and stuff. There's overall like American culture, but because it's just like a mix, it's like a little bowl of mix of everything, and it's just like truly amazing. Definitely understanding people requires a lot of context in terms of like just understanding them, because there's so many nuances, and perspective matters so much, because you can look at people from one perspective and don't understand them, but then try to look at what their perspective might look like, and you're like, oh, I get it. I totally get it now. So to conclude, so this whole thing isn't about realizing how people are different, but it's about how the differences teach us about ourselves. So I would say that the more perspectives I experience, the more I realize how much I still need to learn and how much nuances there is out there in the world. Let me know in the comments how you liked it. It's kind of night out, that's why I'm kind of talking really quietly, but I hope you can still hear me. But thank you guys so much for watching. Please check out my other videos. Check out my shorts, which is basically cuts from my long videos, but like those, comment on those. Please, please, please support every single like, every single activity you do on my channel, like subscribing, commenting, or liking my video matters so much because it's a growing channel. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.